Commission to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and a remote attendance shall count towards a quorum. Let's begin as we always do by establishing quorum through a roll call vote. Carol, present.
Grossman, present.
Spadia, present.
Vecchio, present.
So first order of business is our general public comment. We allow people 2 minutes to bring anything that they may choose to the board's attention. We do not respond to this, and it should not be directed towards any project that's on the agenda tonight. If anyone's here for general public comment, please raise your hand through the Zoom function, and we will promote you to a panelist. Seeing no takers, let's move on to hearings and possible deliberations, beginning with 40 Rockland Street, which is a request for determination.
Sorry, you got one hand come up at the last minute.
Oh, please promote them. I do not see a hand up right now, Jen.
She was just promoted. Hold on.
There is a couple comments. It's asked to you, Jen. It says Frank asked me to speak for him, and if he cannot. It's from Walter.
Okay. I think he means for a hearing, but I'll promote him. Felicity had her hand up at the last.
So as a reminder to everybody before we begin general public comment, this is not to be directed towards any project. This is to call issues to the Conservation Commission's attention. So let's begin with Felicity. Okay. Felicity, if you could unmute yourself and turn on your video if you have a comment you'd like to give under general public comment.
You got me now?
Okay. We got you. Yeah, and again, just a reminder, name and address for the record.
Felicity Kagan, 75 Union Street, Northeastern. I want to talk about the dam that the United States Geological Survey has noted, and it was signed off by the Easton Planning and Zoning Board last year as a plan of land, a dam that's 30 to 50 feet wide. It crosses over French Pond. The origin of it is 98R off of Union Street, and it severs the flow of water from Cedar Swamp down through Dorchester Brook, and I believe I told you about this. All the water is backed up into the northern part of Easton, south of Stoughton. If that dam breaks during a tropical storm or hurricane, all hell break loose. Right now, the water trickles around the side of the dam, fills up French Pond, and I can hear as of May of this year, after 2 days of rainstorm, the culvert near Winterberry Hills gushing like worse than a fire 48 hours. So I think you're going to be in trouble when that dam ultimately breaks, and when the French Pond Dam that spills over to Dorchester Brook finally breaks. The United States Geological Survey dam inspector said that those dams, Monty Pond, French Pond, Horse Pond Dam, and either old or new pond dam are in poor condition. So when those dams break, in some cases that you're talking about severe, significant ecological environmental damage, or loss of life. And also I want to say something, that the easterly side of land borders Wildlands Trust has been taken by the Bensons as their access road to 95 Union Street, and it's in the plans. The zoning, civil engineering drawings from Kelly Engineering have stripped off the land a strip of land that borders the Wildlands Trust. My land, the old French farm, the Knapp farm, goes right up to the border of Wildlands. That's all I want to say for now.
Thank you, Ms. Kagan.
Okay.
Frank, I presume you're up for 40 Rockland?
Yes, I am. I had a little bit of difficulty getting logged on in the beginning, but I am here now. Hopefully things will go smoothly.
No problem at all. So just again, for the record, we're now moving on to hearings and possible deliberations, beginning with 40 Rockland Street, which is a request for determination of applicability to repair and replace a septic system. And Frank, we're ready for you whenever you'd like to begin your presentation.
Okay, the property at 40 Rockland Street is a small lot. It contains a 3-bedroom ranch-style dwelling that has a garage under. The home was constructed in the late 50s as best we could determine. And currently the home is serviced by a cesspool that is located less than 20 feet from the wetlands. The top of the cesspool, the grate, is roughly 2 feet above the ground surface at the wetlands. It's quite obvious that the liquid level in the cesspool is in the groundwater. The owner wishes to install a new septic system. We've done soil tests in the front yard. We found excellent soil with the water table down around 80 inches. We have designed a new septic plan that keeps 100% of the new septic system and work related to the new system outside of the 50-foot buffer zone. There's really not much land on the lot that's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. Most of the work is between the 50 and the 100. The system is designed in accordance with the current Title V regulations. We believe this is a great improvement to the existing situation at that property. I think I have met all of the concerns with the Board of Health and Conservation Commission and would request a negative determination of applicability.
Thank you, Frank. I've reviewed the plans. There may be other commissioners who may have specific questions about the plans and may ask you to pull it up. I think this is a significant improvement over existing conditions, what you proposed. I do not have any additional questions. Jen, do you have staff comment on 40 Rockland Street?
Just that the plan should be shown during the meeting. So Frank, if you could put the plan up, please, and show us where the wetlands are and where the project is taking place.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know, do you see it now?
We can see it.
Okay, excellent. Again, the only work that we have going on within the 100-foot buffer zone will be the...
Frank, I'm sorry, is that your phone?
Yeah, I'm trying to silence it right now. There is the cesspool that I mentioned in the backyard right here. We plan on removing the cover, pumping it empty, filling it with sand, and that area would be, of course, restored to a natural grade. That is the only work whatsoever that would be done close to the wetlands would be removing that. Jen did previously ask for the trees to be shown. The initial plan that I submitted did not have the trees in. We have located the trees and they've shown the plan. We are also showing, and I don't believe it'll be necessary to use, but we are showing a location for a dewatering pit that can be constructed if we have to. The temporary storage area is almost outside of the 100-foot buffer. It's right at the edge of it.
Questions or comments from other members of the commission?
Good with me.
Frank, could you point out the no disturbance zone markers?
Okay, the no disturbance zone markers, we are showing those on the plan. They're starting, it's just this little symbol here. We've got one right at the 50-foot buffer zone here, coming on around there. Another one here, one right behind the existing cesspool, one right over here, one here, and then one right at the 50-foot buffer zone right here. Basically, what we're doing is putting the no disturb signs right at the edge of the existing lawn, edge of the woods, from 50-foot buffer to 50-foot buffer.
Thank you.
Any members of the public here to comment on 40 Rockland Street? I do see something in the Q&A. I think it's unrelated. Looks like it's from earlier. All right, motion to close the public hearing for 40 Rockland Street.
Vecchio, second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Rossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue a determination under the Wetland Protection Act that is +2 and -3, and a determination under the bylaw that is -2.
Second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Rossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Ms. Kagan, before we go to our next project, I just wanted to let you know that we can see you. Not a problem for us. I figured I'd alert you to that. Up next is 14 Galahad Way, which is a notice of intent for the construction of a septic system replacement.
Good evening, Chairman and Commission. And
Good evening.
the agent. My name's Walter Hermano. Pleased to see everybody. Tonight we're here representing Andy and Kelly Lamb, 14 Galahad Way. We've submitted a notice of intent. They're in need of a septic system repair. There are numerous resources that we have identified under the Act, all of them except the isolated land subject to flooding. And under the bylaw, all of them except vernal pools, reservoirs, lakes, and ponds.
Excuse me, Walter, can you show the plan, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jen. Can everyone see the plan?
Not yet.
Ooh, okay. I had it open. What is going on? Under share, here we go. How about now?
We can see it.
All right, great. We're making progress. Thank you for your patience. All right, here we have 14 Galahad Way, existing dwelling. This septic tank is currently in that location, and we're proposing a replacement almost exactly in the same location. They have a leaching field that's failed in this location, and we're gonna remove and replace it in the same location. By doing so, since the lot, this blue line right here is a 200-foot riverfront area, by doing so, we will save all these trees in the front. There's also a swing set that's in the way. There's trees over here to the side. That tree may be saved, I'm not sure yet. Depends on the excavation. But we've done our best to save as many trees in the front yard, which looks like almost all of them, as well as keep it as far away from the wetland resources as possible. There is no way to site this replacement system outside of the resource areas identified. And we believe we've got it in the exact location as what was previously approved. It's just going to be a significant improvement given the old one has failed. We have the wetlands delineation back here done by Ken Thompson. We have proposed 5 permanent wetland markers right here along the floodplain, the 100-year floodplain boundary. The other wetland resources, this is the 50-foot to the BVW. And this gold line is the 100-foot. So we've managed to keep the septic system outside of the 100-foot buffer to the wetlands. And here is, again, resource area, 200 feet for the riverfront. The system, this area right here, is 4,512 feet of disturbance inside of the riverfront area, but the riverfront area that is already currently pre-disturbed on the site is over 19,000 square feet. So we're not disturbing any new riverfront area, is what I'm trying to say. At this point, does anyone have any questions? Have I skipped anything or forgotten anything?
Basic question. Do we have a DEP number on this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I know last we met, we were waiting on one. And then I just have a note that says there's some compost
Yes.
near KT14. Could you just address that briefly?
Yes, I had shared the comments from Ms. Carlino to the client, and they got right on that, and they told me that they have removed a pile of compost. It was fallen branches from all the bad storms and tornadoes that have come through the area. I'm not sure if they're tornadoes, but there's definitely some bad storms. And they put all the branches over there when they were clearing the yard. They've since removed them. That's what they've told me.
Perfect. I have no other questions at this time on this project. Jen, do you have additional staff comment here?
I do not, thank you.
Other members of the commission, anybody have questions or comments for the applicant?
None for me.
I do just want to note for the record, which is something I want to get in the habit of doing. There have been a couple comments by the property owners. I just want to read them for the record. Kelly Lamb posted, "Kelly and I are here if you need us." Kelly Lamb then posted, "That was removed, presumably in response to the compost comment." So that having been read, is there any additional public comment here for 14 Galahad Way? Please raise your hand using Zoom should you wish to make a public comment on 14 Galahad. All right, seeing none. Motion to close the public hearing on 14 Galahad Way.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 14 Galahad Way.
Crossman, second.
Carol motion, Crossman second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you, Walter.
All right, thank you very much, members. Have a great night.
You as well. Up next is 15 Guinevere Road, which is a notice of intent for septic system replacement.
Good evening, everybody. This is Peter with Collins Engineering Group.
Hey, Peter.
Pull up the plan if you could confirm we're looking at it.
We got it.
Awesome. For the record, again, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, representing the homeowner here for a notice of intent relative to the repair of a failed residential septic system. This is a 30,000 square foot lot with wetlands in the back of the property. The 50-foot buffer basically cuts through the middle of the site, and the 100-foot buffer falls in the front of the house. We did try test pits in the front yard outside of conservation jurisdiction, but we found unsuitable soils in both locations, basically pushing us to the side yard where the existing leaching pits are. So our proposal on this one, we're going to install a new septic tank and pump chamber outside of the 100-foot buffer. And then the proposed 14 by 40 foot leaching field will basically start at the 50 buffer, 52 feet from the resource, and extend to the front yard and end just inside of the 100-foot buffer. Our work is going to be contained within the proposed sedimentation limits, sedimentation control limit, shown as the red. Site access will all be from the front yard. we're proposing 3 conservation posts along the existing tree line in the rear of the property. We have shown on the plan soil stockpile locations as well as dewatering, which will occur outside of the 100-foot buffer. This is a relatively flat site. We're not expecting any significant issues with, erosion runoff. So we feel that the proposed 12-inch filter mitt detail shown on the bottom will be sufficient at protecting the resource. With this project, we have provided a waiver from the performance standards because we're within 100 feet of the wetland. Essentially, the waiver states that this is for the interest of the public good. We're fixing a failed septic system. We're providing sedimentation control to protect the resource. Replacing the outdated and failed system is also a benefit to the resource area. Alternative locations, as mentioned, we tried test pits out front. We did not have suitable soils. We're also contending with the water lines, utilities, and existing driveway in the front yard. This is all existing lawn area. It does look like we're removing one larger tree. If I zoom in, it looks like about a 24-inch tree in the northeastern corner of the proposed leaching field. And then typically we show any major trees. So this is probably smaller trees and brush that will be removed to allow for grading, a little bit of proposed grading. It's only coming up about a foot above existing grade. We're not altering any drainage patterns. That's pretty much it. We have added from the staff report a compost area to be removed by hand in the location of flag 6 and 7. We've also added a basement drain line that exits at the vicinity of wetland flag 4. That's my quick rundown on this. Any questions or concerns from the commission?
More or less for the record, pre-existing basement drain line.
That is correct.
Yeah. Did you get a DEP number?
That's a great question.
You did.
Jen's nodding, so yeah.
We did. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, it's 1521847.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have for questions on this one. Challenging site. Good work. Questions or comments, Jen?
Nope, nothing else from me. Thank you.
Members of the commission? Any members of the public here to give public comment for 15 Guinevere Road? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing for 15 Guinevere Road.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spadia second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Bashir, aye.
Motion to issue a permit for work in order of conditions for 15 Guinevere Road.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spadia second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Bashir, aye.
And then now we're moving on to continued hearings and possible deliberations. 28 Pammy's Path, notice of intent for a septic system replacement.
That's me again. I believe we should be looking at the plan.
Yes.
We can see it.
Awesome. This one's already been before you guys. I'll give you a quick recap. We're here for a notice of intent relative to the repair of a failed 5-bedroom septic system. This is a large lot off of Pammy's Path. We got a vernal pool in the front yard and basically BVW around the entire site. The proposed system is going in an existing lawn, more or less replacing the existing leaching footprint in the front yard. Couple comments from the last meeting. We did expand the impervious liner to go entirely around the system due to its proximity to the vernal pool. Additionally, we have shown on the plan, it's basically like an equalizer pipe connecting the vernal pool to the BVW. That is a 12-inch metal pipe. The inverts show it being flat, so it doesn't really drain one way or the other. It's just kind of an equalizer. I would imagine the vernal pool generally fills and it runs to the north into the wetland. But that could kind of go either way based on the conditions. But those were the revisions. I don't believe the commission had any other concerns. Any questions? I'd be happy to try to address them. Thank you.
I think our primary concern was the liner. Thank you for addressing it. Jen, am I missing anything?
Nope, you have everything you requested at the last meeting.
Okay. Members of the commission, any questions or comments before we move for public comment? Any public comment here tonight on 28 Pammy's Path? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing for 28 Pammy's Path.
Crossman second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 28 Pammy's Path.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Up next is 95 Union Street, which is a representative abbreviated notice of resource area delineation to verify wetland resource boundaries only.
Good evening.
Eric, how are you?
Good. How is everybody?
Good.
Excellent. For the I'm sorry, as when you get promoted to panelist, everything kind of goes black for a minute. So I came in the middle. I wasn't exactly sure where we were. For the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer, Strong Point Engineering, representing Garcon Pulp for the ANRAD at 95 Union Street is the technical address. But if you recall from our last meeting, it is actually its frontage is along Winterberry Lane. At the last meeting, I don't recall if the staff report had been published yet, but I know that we definitely had some comments to address. Since that time, we have gone back to the site. We've expanded the delineation in some locations to address staff comments. I believe that Jennifer was able to meet our wetland scientist on site, and they took a look at a few critical areas together. Just to kind of update, I'll share my screen and show what we've expanded upon.
Thank you.
I think everybody can see this. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So this sheet is just an overall key, which is probably the easiest to give the once over. We had previously delineated the green line, the BBW that you see all the way through here and around the site. We've expanded that BBW to across Winterberry so we can determine any access impacts there may be eventually. We have also delineated the boundary of a potential vernal pool that is located on the northern portion of the site. And I believe, and Jennifer can correct me if I'm wrong, but Jennifer and Cameron from ECR were able to look at that area together. We had also previously delineated Dorchester Brook running through the site and an intermittent stream that is tributary to it along the southern portion. We'll zoom in a little bit. We identified another small finger of that intermittent stream in the field. And then we were able to sort of add in the division point where it turns from intermittent to perennial right at this location here. Aside from that, we were able to show some of the culverts that are on site that connect the D series and the C series, the BBWs, and then again up here by the Dorchester Brook. And I think that about sums it up for improvements to the delineation. I believe we hit all of the marks that were in the staff comment to staff satisfaction. But I do know there's a few outstanding questions with regard to some of the disturbances on site. Um, One subject of it is that there is some erosion in certain locations that should probably be cleaned up and stabilized. Into the erosion into the BBW needs to be removed. I did speak with my client and indicated in our response letter that he is willing to do that work, but before he embarks on any of that, he wanted to discuss with the commission, make sure he is crystal clear on what he is being asked to do, what he is allowed to do, whatever permitting mechanism needs to be in place to get it done. And then the other topic of discussion has been there are a number of crossings on site. A small handful, I should say. There are some trail roads on the site, things of that nature. So the question is, when did they come in? I want to share my screen. I want to stop this share and share another portion just to show what we've gotten to so far. And unfortunately, the imagery that we've been able to find isn't fantastic, but I think it starts to give us some clues as to what's going on and how we got there. So this is a historic aerial photo from 1980. I can't remember the name of the pond right here. Can you see that?
Sorry to interject, Eric. The date pre-Wetland Control Act, is it 83?
Yes, it is 83.
Thank you.
So this is from 80. This is it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember the name of the pond. French Pond, there it is.
French Pond.
Right here. So if we come kind of directly to this area, although the property lines aren't on here, this is the general area where the site is now. And if we compare that to the aerial that we have from 1985, which I will bring up next. Probably should have just shared my whole screen instead of doing this individually, but sometimes that doesn't work well. This is the same exact view from the aerials in 1985. You can see French Pond is here. Again, between kind of the text is the area of the site. And you can start to see the trails that are cut in here. They were cut in somewhere between 80 and 85. I can't tell for sure when. They're probably right around the time of the enactment of the Wetlands Protection Act in 83. I do know that my client purchased this property within the last 12 months. And the only work that he's done on site so far is soil testing. In no additional clearing, we stuck to the haul roads. He has, not been maintaining the haul roads that are on site. He has not mowed the field that's on site and has no intention of doing so. So I can't say for sure when this happened. I know it didn't have anything to do with my client, thankfully, because I don't want to clean it up. But that's where we are. So I'll be glad to turn it over.
So I think one of the things, I've never had this come up. Jen, are these trails part of an ORAD? I mean, we're not delineating what's existing on the site. We're just delineating existing conditions by way of resource areas.
Right, but you're trying to make sure that the resource areas are accurately depicted and whether or not there had been a previous violation by putting in the roads and cart paths and the fields. So the boundary would change if you're saying if there's not evidence that would show that the cart paths predated Wetland Protection Act, because then it would be the entire section of wetland that's been crossed. You're just sort of trying to make sure that the wetland boundary is accurate by determining if the cart paths and the culverts are actually a violation or not. If they were done before Wetland Protection Act, then it would not be a violation. That's why we were, Eric's trying to show the two photographs. Fortunately, historic aerials only has a few.
Yeah, their limits.
Yeah, they're not, they're certainly not definitive in that regard. Yeah. Unfortunately, Mr. Benson, who owned this property prior, is no longer with us. What I can say though is, as we're looking at this, if there was an area that was filled, it looks like that area would predominantly be between C and D, right? There is, if we
Yeah.
go to that sheet, there is a cart path that runs through this area here, and it is connected with a culvert. Um, so, it's interior, so to speak, to the 50-foot buffer zone. So with regard to any future project or future possible development, it wouldn't have an impact in that regard. Other than that, I think the closest, yes, there is if we zoom in here, there is a rock culvert that was constructed at some point with a concrete top over Dorchester Brook. That would be well within the riverfront area of the Dorchester Brook. So, even well within that 100 foot, there would be no potential for disturbance there. And then the next closest place that we have it, and I can pull it up on the sheet, but just to kind of give an overview, the next closest place, a cart path kind of runs right along the border of a portion of this BBW. So whether or not it cut off that BBW coming this way, you can't see what I'm pointing to, but going south, I can't determine that, but I do know that, we've inspected the site thoroughly, and there's no evidence of a BBW on the opposite side, on the southern side of that path. So I think if we're determining, if our purpose is to determine impacts to the site as far as, potentially developable areas, it's all kind of well confined within the 50-foot BBW and the 100-foot riverfront.
Yeah, I think you've also given us pretty definitive evidence that the paths were in place by 85.
Yeah.
The map that you showed us in 80, I think, is relatively clearly a different season. And so it becomes a determination for us as a board to have a discussion about, which I think we ought to do. Jen, any additional staff comment here that you would like to address?
Other than the question about the cart paths, the rest of the wetland resource areas boundaries are all accurate at this time.
Okay.
One thing, if I may, Mr. Chairman, too, just to add, I know I showed the photos of 80 to 85. The reason that I showed those two was because that's sort of the bridge that we find as we scroll through the historic aerials. The ones that predate 80, I didn't find any evidence of it there, so I'm pretty confident, even though, yeah, I agree, it's a change of season. I'm pretty confident it came somewhere in there.
No, I think you're right, and it's a more likely than not standard. So when did they show? All right, I would love some input from other members of the commission as to where they stand on this and what you think about it. We can also go to public comment.
Do you think the path's covered up with grass in the first picture? Is that your question?
So I think that the material question before us, well, of course, it's a ANRAD application to figure out the boundaries, but I think one of the questions we have to determine is whether or not those paths were in place, whether we think those paths were in place before 1983, which is the operative date for the Wetland Control Act. So anything that happened before that wouldn't have required a permit to do those paths. If we decide that the paths were done after 83, then they would perhaps have a wetland violation ongoing back there for unpermitted paths and some additional fill, which creates further questions around the ANRAD.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, it happened inside that span of time. I mean, those are pretty well defined paths in that second picture, so I can't imagine they were hiding in that first one. So I don't know if there's a way to pin it down exactly to 1982 or 84.
So the burden of proof on the applicant is more likely than not, right? Is it more likely than not that those were done before 1983 is sort of the operative question that we'll have to figure out.
Yeah, I had gone to the site also with Jen to check it out. I mean, it obviously it appears like it's been there for quite some time. It's been quite used. So I would have to assume that if it was used as heavily as it was, I think you would have seen it pretty quick in 80. So the fact that you're seeing it a little later on and it's pretty beat up. I kind of have gone through also satellite through the years, like in the 2000s, and I've just played through the seasons because Ben kind of mentioned that point. Just got to play with satellites a lot, and you can see it. It's there. So yeah, if it is defined, then I'm kind of thinking maybe it was probably that's probably happening around 85.
Yeah, and if it was that well, it was that worn out by 85, then, you know, we could assume that maybe it was prior to that 80, you know, just because of the way. I mean, it looks like a track in that second picture, so that it got some use.
Yeah, it's quite a large road too, Nate. If you were to there to see, I mean, you could fit a large truck, like a Mack truck, if you chose to. And this is and the field's quite a large field. I mean, three of them, they're there. They're very big.
Yep.
So, you see it.
I mean, you have
Yeah.
to make your best estimation at this point. You know, this is all the available
My best estimation
evidence.
is before. That would be my best estimation.
Thank you, Nate. Phil, did you have anything you wanted to add?
You guys pretty much said it all. No, I pretty much
All right.
agree. I think it is before that date. So,
All right, let's go to public comment on 95 Union. Felicity, although we did hear from you earlier, if again you wouldn't mind just please introducing yourself by name and address.
Felicity Kagan. I have a lot of things to say about 95 Union Street. I have taken pictures all throughout 95 Union Street. Number one, on sheet A3 of his drawings, the easterly corner of it that abuts Wildlands Trust, that pathway going up there is my land. If you have any questions about it, walk across the hall to the Easton Historical Commission or contact the Massachusetts Historical Commission. My land is the old French farm that was built in 1824-25 that abuts the land of Winfield Gray, the ancestor of Wayne Benson, trustee. He bought from Rachel French, lot 1 on the north side of Pleasant Street in Brockton, and the south side of Pleasant Street, Brockton, lot 2, 15 acres. He did not own land in Easton. Wayne Benson's property, 95 Union Street, borders right up to the land of Winfield Gray in Brockton. He did not own the land of the Frenches nor the Knapps that bordered right up to the land of Brockton Audubon Society or the Wildlands Trust. And him having put in the south area of, you see this? The south area right there, cleared out the trees and putting in a trail down through there, through my property, and claiming that it's his is pure criminal behavior. What he did, he tore out this pathway over the eastern border and went down and cleared it out there. That stone wall, the bridge, is actually 2 6-foot concrete slabs that block.
Felicity, it's hard to tell from your plan. Are you talking about a newer trail? Or are you talking about the ones
No,
that we
I'm
just
talking
reviewed?
about his old trail. His old trail was the access road for his forest conservation through Phil Benjamin. Phil Benjamin counted that trail that he put up through the into Wildlands Trust at the southern part of 91 Union Street as their legal access road, but that was on my land. That was on the Knapps land. Number 2.
Can you tell us approximately when that occurred?
After 1981, 82. By 1986, he turned that over. Wayne Benson Sr. turned that over into a trust for his son. But I took pictures of the whole place if you want to see them. It's absolutely quite beautiful. That concrete slab, that bridge, according to Arches, a quarter of that bridge on the north side is on my property. It's 2 concrete slabs that block Dorchester Brook. Most of the water of Dorchester Brook is blocked in my land, so it has a shallower, wide area that flows down south in Dorchester Brook. My area on the north side of those 2 concrete slabs, so wide that you can run a truck over. The water is blocked off on the north side. And remember this, the United States Supreme Court, I told you about this, Sackett versus the EPA. The same as the 1972 Clean Water Act. You cannot block continuously flowing surface water that is interstate. And that was upheld by the United States Supreme Court May 25th, 2023. So if you intend on blocking the water, I mean, that's criminal. It's also criminal what Benson did, putting that embankment or dike and dam across French Pond. That is also illegal against the United States Clean Water Act of 1972. You need federal agencies to approve that, and the Army Corps of Engineers to have built that dam. That dam that he put across French Pond, I'm only assuming that it was for the Brockton electric power lines that go across French Pond. I'm assuming that that thing is going to blow. One day, all these, Winterberry, which is under the bottom of phase 1 and phase 2, that is a floodplain. The part south of me is a floodplain. The man from Goldfinch Drive off of East Elm Street was worried about the water. That whole water will take out, if that dam goes, that whole water from French Pond will flood out south of me and that runoff brook from French Pond, it is actually continuously flowing surface water. It will take out Arbor Way, Dorchester Brook Estates. You're talking about a massive volume of water. The Union Street is at my house, and Garfetto's house is at 181 feet. The land, the elevation north of me, French Pond, going all the way up to the wetlands near Stoughton, is 186 feet. The drop off of the road of Union Street to the water of French Pond must drop off at about 176 feet in elevation, say 5 feet in elevation dropping to the water of French Pond. Then the water drops down through the French Pond Dam 12 feet, 16,000 gallons every single day. And they're saying that French Pond Dam, this is the United States Geological Survey. The building inspectors say these dams are going to blow. They're considered in poor condition, and the results, the catastrophic results, significant results will be environmental and ecological. Now, the land, as I told you, the barn built in 1860, the back of the barn is 173 feet, according to the United States Geological Survey. And every single October, November, December through May, it fills up with water. It's a big stone foundation. It goes up 8 to 14 feet. Sometimes the water goes all the way back to my sidewalk, and you got to walk along the sidewalk ridge to get to the driveway. If this elevation of the rear of the barn is 173 feet, and the highest part of 95 Union Street is at 172 feet. If that dam goes, all of that area will be underwater. I'm guaranteeing you, just like Winterberry Hills, that is all the bottom part of phase 1, Winterberry Hills, and phase 2 is all a FEMA Zone A floodplain. The south part of my land, where 95 Union Street is proposed to be built, that's all a floodplain too. And you're dealing with serious environmental ecological damage. And possibly, as they say with Morse Pond Dam, the building inspectors from the United States Geological Survey, they're talking about loss of life with Morse Pond. Old Pond, New Pond, I don't know which one it is, but Morse Pond, Monty Pond Dam, that blew out in a tropical storm in a hurricane in 1967 or late 67, and they're saying that French Pond Dam will collapse soon. It's in poor condition. That was built in the 1700s, and you're talking about catastrophic flooding going through this area. And I want that land back that has the trail. You want to see the trail that I took pictures?
Do we need to be talking about the dams? I thought we were talking about the trails. Is there more information that we need?
The trails. I took pictures of everything. This is the trail that goes up along. There's continuously running water on both sides of the trail. This is the roadway that they're talking that this is their land. I suggest you go to the Easton Conservation Commission. let's go up here. This is the dam, the two concrete slabs over Dorchester Brook. Now we're running easterly towards the Wildlands Trust.
I can't really see the pictures on the iPad. Sorry.
Can you see them now?
I mean, I can see your iPad. I just can't really see the details.
The Dorchester Brook. This is the concrete slab. That's this part of the concrete slab is on my property. Now let's go. This is going easterly towards Wildlands Trust, and let's go. Hold on. See that? That's not a straight run. This trail going up there towards 91 Union Street is on my property, and there's a continuously flowing brook. And let me tell you something. Just keep watching. It goes up. It goes up, and it continues to go up. There's the water. There's water everywhere. The United States Geological Survey data for the Fish and Wildlife Service said, and doing the wetlands mapper, each classification code said this area has permanent water stratum. The soil is permanently wet. So look, see, now we go north towards Wildlands Trust. Keep going, wet areas everywhere, water everywhere, continuously flowing water. Now we go up in elevation. You see, we go up in elevation. This trail, which he said is classified under A3, is on my property. You see, now we go up to the bottom of A1 or 91 Union Street. Now keep looking, 91, you see how it goes up? Now we're at the top. This is on my property. There's the stone wall. You see the stone wall there, which is one of the 4 fields in the farm. Now look, and now that's the area that Benson cleared out, and the Easton the Wildlands Trust ordered you through the Easton Conservation Commission to clear out his junk. He did, but he left that item there. Now keep looking. You see this right there? There's the rock wall. He tore down the rock wall. The deed says to the rock wall of Winfield Gray in Brockton, and he tore this down right there. There's his backhoe. Now let's go on.
I can still see rock wall. Is the rock wall now missing?
This is a lot of information. What pertains to this particular project for us?
Because
I feel like we're getting a lot of info.
Here.
I mean, I'm asking Ben or Jen.
See?
I'm asking
this.
You're good, Nate.
Okay, can you see that? Right there. Yeah, right along there. You see that, the straight line? Well, that all got changed. That all got changed June 27th when the Board of Appeals had their meeting regarding Blackledge, and they changed all the borders. Benson is not an honest person. They put a access road through there, going down there to get access to Wildlands Trust. You see right down there?
Ms. Kagan, do you have a survey instead of GIS?
How about the deeds? I do have one survey, but it's hold on.
Because the applicants provided us with a survey stamped by a licensed surveyor saying that what's included on the plan is their land.
Yeah, hold on.
We're not making a determination in an ANRAD as to ownership. We can only do an ANRAD on a property that an applicant has convinced us by their burden of proof is theirs, which we have held consistently. A survey stamp is enough for us to issue an ANRAD.
There's serious ripping down of the walls, which say that my land goes up to the stone wall of Winfield Gray. And as I said, Winfield Gray only owned the land in Brockton. So this is overt land theft by Benson. Let me see if I have that in here. I have what happened to it. They have no access for a access and egress for a second right away out of Benson's property. That's complete. It's a bogus lie. Because each deed says my land goes up to the land of Winfield Gray. If you want me to read it to you, I will read it to you.
Reading the deed won't help us.
Huh?
reading the deed, I don't believe will help us determine property lines based upon the surveys that have been produced at the meeting.
Yes, I can't find it.
Haven't they already been determined by, like you said, this?
Well, I had
Yeah.
Hawk Engineering come down there. I spent $9,000, and their answer is we can't find the rock wall. Why? Because it has been piled up by a backhoe, which I showed you the pictures of. Right here, you see, oh, Jesus. Hold on. This really, you see that? He piled the rocks right there. That's his backhoe, which was removed. And you look down here. Let's go back here. You see right there? Right there, there's rock wall right there. But he took it all the way down there from the bottom of 91 Union Street. And that this land is this land up here is the Wildlands Trust. So this man, Benson or Benson Sr., took out the rock wall, which is a border. It's in the deed that it goes up to the rock wall of Winfield Gray, who only owned land in Brockton. So I suggest you go to the Mass DEP/wetlands to look at the floodplain maps. They have it all laid out. A lot of that area, phase 2 of Winterberry and the bottom of phase 1 is all a zone A floodplain, and large areas of that land south is a floodplain. And FEMA says that they're not accurate. They expect the flood area to be a lot worse.
Thank you, Ms. Kagan. Do we have any other public comment for 95 Union Street?
There is one more hand up.
Hello?
Hi, we can see a screen of somebody named Roy. Would you mind just
Yes.
introducing yourself by name and address for the record?
Roy Nakowitz, at 128 Winterberry Lane. One question I have when Eric was talking, the engineer, something about access impact. And I was just wondering if he could elaborate on that. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how all of this is going to affect where I'm living. But what did he mean by access impact?
So Roy, I'll just reiterate again, and then I will move your question over to Mr. Diaz. But this is a request for an ANRAD, which again, there is no active project in front of us at this time. It's just they're simply trying to figure out if we can all agree to the wetland boundaries on the site. So Mr. Diaz, considering Roy's question, could you describe what you meant earlier by access impact?
I can, yes. So the only street frontage for this property is on Winterberry Lane. So if anything was ever to be built here, it's very likely going to come off of Winterberry. What I meant by the access impact is part of the revisions that we made is we delineated the wetland boundary across the street from Winterberry because it has a 100-foot buffer zone. And if that 100-foot buffer zone reaches onto the property, then any work done within that area to access the property would be subject to filing of some sort with the Conservation Commission. So that's all I meant, just thinking future for a possible future access. I just wanted to explain why we included this portion of the delineate.
Okay. Okay, it sounds like what's going on at the commission right now is very pointed in, what's going on. I just listen in on this just to try to figure out exactly how this is going to affect us.
Of course.
And I am really concerned because when I purchased this home and I asked about, is this in a flood zone? I was told by the builder, no, it's not. So that's a whole other story. But when I hear about dams and things that are old and things that may let go, and that phase two could be at risk, I think you could understand that I would have a lot of concern about that.
Of course.
Okay,
Thank you for your comment.
thank
Ms.
you.
Kagan, we'll allow an additional comment from you. I can see your hand up, and you need you need to keep it to new material to the
Okay,
commission
this is
that
new
that you
material.
have not spoken about yet.
Can you hear me now? Can you see me?
We can hear
Okay.
you. We can see you.
I remember the late August Starnes, who lived down the street, and I went to the Board of Appeals meeting with Walter Marioni, arguing about the floods that we have witnessed going through Winterberry Hills, massive whitewater flooding. It looked like it was 5-6 feet. You're talking about waves going through there during a tropical storm. And I remember that we had pointed out to them that Winterberry Hills, phase 1 and phase 2 were in the Zone A floodplain. That includes water coming out through the culvert under Union Street. Now, phase 2, if you go to the Mass DEP/wetlands map, they have that whole area, the lower part of a Winterberry phase 1 and Winterberry phase 2, all of phase 2 in a floodplain. Now, when you put houses back there, you're talking about serious liability. The town, individual members of the commissions, they're going to be liable if there are deaths or property damage. Now, the developers of Winterberry knew that this was a floodplain when we argued about it, and they contacted FEMA and attempted to have the floodplain map revisited and made shorter, less wide than it was. So each subsequent year, the floodplain maps got wider and wider. The area near phase 1, 163 feet in width, 165 feet, 173 feet. It gets wider and wider. There's more water going through there. And when that dam goes out, when some tropical storm or hurricane, and that takes out Benson's dam or dike, man-made dam or dike, according to the United States Geological Survey, I'm telling you, all hell's gonna break loose. Winterberry and this whole area south of what we witnessed, the massive water going through French Pond Dam down into my land. You're talking about whitewater flooding going through there, massive. And these people are in peril if you build on that area, which I told you the bottom of my yard is 173 feet in height. It was all flooded, and the most highest elevation of 95 Union Street is 172 feet in elevation. It keeps dropping down 163 feet, 155, 154, and down to Monty's Pond at 148 feet. You're talking about serious liability on the part of this town and members of the commissions. Anyone approves that, and those people are in peril, including the people in Dorchester Brook and Goldsmith Drive on Elm Street Extension. There.
Thank you, Ms. Kagan. So I'm going to address another question to the applicant. Eric, is this project in a mapped flood zone?
This project is not in a mapped flood zone. There is, and let me just share my screen for just a moment. So, it should be coming up.
We can see your screen.
So if you look, the flood zone that is mapped in this area is a Zone A. Zone A's are an approximated limit that may flood during a 100-year storm event. Zone A's do not have a defined elevation of flood associated with them. So in that case, what we do in an ANRAD is we show the boundary as it is mapped on the FEMA map and indicate that it is in fact the Zone A, and the final elevation would need more study, but it's not available at this time. That said, the floodplain as mapped, the Zone A, is well within the limits of the BBW. And in this portion at least seems to mimic Dorchester Brook. Just one other thought, this is the line of phase 2 Winterberry, and you can see right here that it does not extend on phase 2 Winterberry.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Do we have any new public comment?
Can I interrupt here?
Not yet. Is there anyone
Okay.
with their hand up aside from Ms. Kagan who would like to give public comment as to 95 Union Street?
There are no other hands up.
Okay. Ms. Kagan, we're going to go back to you. Again,
Sorry
it has to be
name.
something new or in response to
Okay.
the comment by Mr. Dias.
Go to the Mass DEP/wetlands. They will show you all
Miss-
Zone A, which incorporates the lower part of Phase 1 Winterberry and all of Phase 2. All of that
Got
area
new information though.
is all.
We've already been over this.
Huh?
We have been
already
over this,
informed
Ms.
us about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Kagan.
Okay.
Any additional public comment for 95 Union Street?
No.
Seeing none. I think based upon public comment, we just have to have a board discussion on how we feel about the date of the trails, and then we can move forward with an order of conditions. I'm sorry, order of resource area delineation. So based upon public comment, it sounds as though those existed pre-83. Based upon the aerial maps that we've seen, they certainly existed pre-85. I'm of the position that the applicant has met their burden of proof that those trails existed before the Wetland Control Act. If anyone has a different position, I'm very much open to hearing it.
I very much agree, Ben.
Also agree.
As to the continued questions that we've had about property boundaries, which is certainly a salient issue for an ANRAD, we have historically accepted stamped surveyor plans to represent property boundaries for the purposes of ANRADs and ORADs. I'm inclined to continue to do that and say that the applicant here has met their burden of proof as to the ANRAD and ORAD, not to ownership of the property globally, but as to the purposes of this application. Does anyone have a different opinion on this?
No.
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 Okay. So I'm going to move forward with a vote. Motion to close the public hearing for 95 Union Street.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Based upon our board discussion, public comment, motion to issue an order of resource area delineation as proposed for 95 Union Street.
Crossman, second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, everyone. Appreciate
you. Up next is an amendment to an existing permit, 642 through 644 Turnpike Street, which is a notice of intent to change the proposed stormwater system for approved construction of a commercial building and contractor yard.
They've requested a continuance to 7/21 meeting.
I must have missed that continuance on the agenda. I apologize. Motion to continue 642, 644 Turnpike Street to the 7/21 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Turning next to certificates of compliance. 133 Highland Street.
Project is stabilized and ready for a full certificate of compliance.
Perfect. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 133 Highland Street.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio aye.
63 Mill Street.
Also stabilized and ready for a full certificate of compliance.
Very good. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 63 Mill Street.
Spadia, second.
Carol motion, Spadia second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio aye.
11 Meeting House Lane.
This is stabilized and ready for a full certificate of compliance. During the site inspection, the property owner was there and requested 2 dead trees to be removed and 1 branch to be pruned that is within the exemptions under Wetland Protection Act, so I did make that approval. It's ready for a full COC.
Thank you, Jen. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 11 Meeting House Lane.
Vecchio, second.
Ooh,
Take it, Nate.
Carol, Carol motion. I'm giving it to Crossman. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Phil, I'll give you the next close one, I promise.
No, I think Nate deserved that one.
Thank you.
Up next is 10 Western Ave.
Stabilized, ready for a full.
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 10 Western Ave.
Vecchio, aye. Second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Up next is 58 Mill Street.
Can we just take a break before this one? Looks like a long one. I just need a bio break, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I'll retract calling that one. And let's do motion for a 5-minute recess. Everyone come back around 7:45.
Thank you.
Second.
Perfect.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Aye. Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
See you soon.
Are we ready?
Oh, sorry, Garrett. I wasn't sure if you saw. We're technically on recess. We're just going
Still on
to
recess? Okay, sorry. I did
No,
not.
you're good. We're just waiting for Phil, and
Okay.
we'll have you right up.
Sounds good.
Didn't mean to keep you in weird limbo.
That's okay. A lot going on.
All right, we got Phil back. Let's just do a quick roll call vote to establish quorum, and then we'll continue with the meeting. Carol present.
Crossman present.
Spadia present.
Vecchio present.
And moving back to request for certificate of compliance, we're on 58 Mill Street.
Good evening. I'm Garrett Tunison from Tunison Environmental Consultants. I'm here on behalf of our client, which is Greg Mills. So I wanted to start out. I know you received the package. I just want to make one clarification. I know, and I saw this, Jen, thank you for pointing it out, that there should be two separate wetland reports for monitoring. So I did take the report that I had that had the fall monitoring, the spring monitoring, and also the construction of the restoration and enhancement areas in the buffer zone. And I did put that into one document since I knew the commission had to review that. I then separated it into the fall and the spring monitoring report. It's the same information. I just pulled it apart. So I just want to clarify that. But I want to make sure I made that requirement with the two documents from the order of conditions.
Since you're on that, Garrett, what I saw on Permit Eyes is the labeling was changed, but it's the exact same document for both of them. So I don't know if you loaded the wrong thing.
It might have happened. I'm sorry, Jen, if it did. I'm having issues with my Adobe Acrobat Professional, and I've had that happen. And when I'm combining PDFs, sometimes it'll wipe out a whole bunch of the PDFs and just have one. It's repetitive. So I don't know what's going on. I think I got to reload it. I did that late last night. I wanted to make sure you had it. So sorry. I'll check that again and see, because it shows on mine, it looks like two, but that's when I look on my laptop from my desktop, it'll show differently. And I don't know why. So there's something going on there. Okay. I apologize. I believe I sent the CAD file to the DPW. I thought I did. If I did not, I will double check, but I thought I did send that to the DPW.
Yeah, Garrett, if you would just resend it to them, maybe you
Yes.
did, maybe didn't. They just haven't signed off yet, and we have to wait until they sign off on it.
Okay, and Jen, also, as you probably know, there were a couple additional requests in your comments, and we are addressing those right now. The only one that we haven't done is Frank had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how the land under a waterway should be placed and where it goes. And then also he wanted to make sure the bank was in the right location. So I was going back and forth with him late last night and a little bit today. You will get those.
Yeah, the land underwater would just be a note. It's not, you're not actually going to outline or anything like that because it's within the banks. So
yes,
it would just be a plan note next to it. Yeah.
I think he was going to try to shade it, just the area between the two banks. And I'm going,
no need.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll put the note on. So that's it. As far as the planting plans, I did update. I don't know if you saw it, and I don't know if it came through or didn't come through correctly. It should have been on those attached plans in the two separate wetland monitoring reports. I did update those as as-built plans and put the date on those. So
yeah, I did see that.
Okay, good. They did come through. Good. What was the other thing? Floodplain. So that covers that. Some plantings in the restoration areas 1 through 4 changed. Notification. Additional. Yes. So when Greg he ordered the plants to come this spring, and the nursery said we are out of the southern arrowwood, the viburnum dentatum. So they said, could we use a different viburnum? and they asked for, wild raisin or nanny berry would be acceptable. And they were basically loading them on the truck. So he just called me and said, would that be okay? They're on the site. They are native to the area. They're there. So I
Nanny
didn't see
berry
an
fine.
issue with it. So that was that. Um, the the compensatory storage, I believe we did cover. You should have that. The elevations, I know Frank put a bunch of those in. I thought they were all there. There might have been one where he had it shaded and it wasn't there. I'm going to verify that with him. And that would have been one of the, I believe it was in Basin 2. There was one area that was shaded that didn't have an elevation on it. So I'll double check that with him. But
Yep,
he has that information. I don't think it just got on it.
and just the in-street drainage.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
And a profile similar to A on the original plans that show near the stream crossing, just so we can see the culvert is at the right elevations.
Yes, I'll explain the culvert. I actually talked with Frank and Greg today.
Mhm.
So when they cut the pipe that was there before, the concrete pipe, it was not in the location of where the bridge is. It's off. It's further north than where the actual crossing is. So they tried to line the stream up on one end with where they cut the pipe. So they had to kind of feather it a little bit, and believe it or not, it was within 2 inches, I believe, with the invert, if I remember correctly. And then they put the gravel on top, and with the gravel, it should be at the right elevation. That's what Frank said. It's like really very, very close. So they did the very best they could with that. I was hoping Frank would be here to talk tonight, but he was unavailable. So,
No,
but that's
understood, but if he just shows it as a profile on
Profile?
a built,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay, good. I didn't know if there was an issue there, because that's what they were saying. I don't know if we're not explaining this properly or showing it properly. But
No, you are. Just show the profile of the
Okay.
finished culvert
Okay.
or crossing on the as-built plan, please.
Okay, so that's that. What else? So the other conditions, some of the stormwater stuff. Okay. Condition 52, the caps for the impervious cover. I might have said this incorrectly in my report. I do not remember. I don't have it right in front of me, but the one that was what was approved under the notice of intents for the individual lots is what was done, except on lot 1, they were putting the infiltrator closer to the wetland in the back of the property. There was one in the front and one in the back. They were able to have the drainage all go to the front yard, and they put that other unit in the front yard. So they didn't change anything else. That's all that they did with the infiltration, subsurface infiltration units. So the impervious area was for those, but it was different from this when they had it in the subdivision. That's the difference.
So for the individual house lot,
It's correct.
the first one is what, 29 or 23?
Yeah, 23 and 20, and then the other one's 29. And 23 is the only one where they moved the infiltration unit that captured the back, downspouts, and they were able to have the back downspouts go to the front of the house instead of slightly. They were able to get I guess, the way they built it up. Greg was saying it was able to go to the infiltrators, and they were able to put it in the front yard instead of closer to the wetland in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I read your letter to be there's more impervious surface and then you needed a larger infiltration rate. Is that accurate or not?
I think that's my fault, and I apologize. It should state that it's more than what was in the subdivision NOI for those 2 lots.
But it's what was approved
In the individual lot notice of intents. So that's my mistake. I didn't explain that properly in my letter for this
okay.
for the lots. Okay.
Just so it's clear.
Yes.
For future reference, can you just do something really quick, 1-2 sentence thing, and add that as well, please, just so we can keep that in the record and it's clear.
Yes, I'll
So
do
is that the same for lot 2? there's no more
No, there's no change from
impervious
lot
house
two.
and
Yes.
driveway, none of that. It's just that the infiltration basins are infiltration trenches are slightly different location.
Yeah, there's no change in even the infiltration chamber locations on that one. It's so tight. Nothing's been changed on lot two at all. So that's it. They're kind of, shoehorn that lot especially is shoehorned in. This was there. They put the posts and the markers in. I know there was a comment about, where was it?
They're not in concrete.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna rip them out. I don't think they were thinking of that. I didn't know if that was what was stated to me. I don't know if that's
the detail shows concrete. If I can go over and pull it out, then
okay.
Residents can do that as well, and it's meant there to be permanent and
okay.
As a friendly reminder for residents. So if it's
okay.
pulled out, then there's
Yeah.
the potential for violations down the road, and nobody wants that. So
okay.
I will kick them. I tell everybody at pre-construction meeting, make sure it's in concrete. I'm going to kick your post.
I will convey that to them and let them know. Okay. What's the other one? Inspect stormwater. Greg was saying a lot of this stuff was done with the planning board. He did send me a list of what he had to pay for bonding, and I didn't get a chance to scan it. Hold on one second. I'm going to step away. It's right here. So basically, really, it'd be very difficult for me to show you this. I'm just going to say I have a list here from the planning board and what was done, and it's signed off from the planning board. I can scan this and get it over to you so you can see it.
But so Garrett, that's a planning board bond?
Yeah, it's all the bonds. It's the total's 190,000, and it goes through everything from restoration area trees, chain link fence, riprap, weir, grading, loaming and seeding. It's construction of the basins. It's everything is the details are all in here, the construction items, and it talks about the quantities and everything. So they have this. So we're
so your planning board bond included like your restoration area?
It says restoration area trees. So we'll have to clarify that, but that's what's stated here. I don't know if it's my ecological restorations or not. But the client also did mention, he said, hey, you guys aren't going to release anything and I won't get my road until the wetlands are done on the final. So he knows this is only for a partial, this filing. So he was just one to basically, I think it's more for the sale of the lot. So we can say, look, you don't have to worry. All this work is done and the rest of it I have to do for the final. And this is where we're at. So please buy this lot. I think that's what he's trying to accomplish with a partial certificate of compliance. So he needs of course he needs the full on the lots so he can move the lots. So that's the whole purpose of that, along with filing this partial to show that the majority of what needs to function is there, and then they have to final and have to go through all the checks. Like one of the things too we talked about here further down, I'm going to jump just because we're on this topic with stormwater.
Yep.
The infiltration basins, number 2, appears to be full of cattails. That is correct. It is. The water's sitting there. It is infiltrating, but it's really slow. It's holding the water. So we're getting cattails. At the initial start of the project, they used Basin 2 for a temporary stormwater basin before it was finalized. So there's a lot of sediment in the bottom, and it's fine sediment that needs to come out. It is not infiltrating well. It's fine silt. It's not going through it. So that needs to come out. The soils below that did perk really well, just like the septics did. It's the same soil. They did check there, so it will work. The Greg said, he has the plan. It's the fall 2025. They're going to blade that again, take the surface off. They're going to clean out all the sediment, loam, and hydroseed. So they're going to do that so it functions. And he knows, he said, I won't be able to get it signed off on, including the road, unless that's done. So that's for the fine. So let me go back, and I apologize. I just wanted to cover that. I'm going to go to the deer eating some of the plants. We did see some chewing. We're going to monitor that. If it gets any worse, he will put clutches on the plants, which the ones are getting eaten, or replace them if they get badly eaten. We are monitoring them right now. I did this with another site. It cost about, but they had more plants. It was approximately like $25,000 to put clutches on each one. You can fence it, but you got to go 8 feet or above, because a white-tailed deer, believe me, I know all about this. They will jump 8 feet. I've come home when I was a kid and found them teetering on an 8-foot fence. So numerous times. What else? The embedded material at the entrance of the culvert should look like the rest of the stream bed. They are, Jennifer, they are going to put the more rocks in that section of stream, because I wasn't there when they put this in, so I will be there to oversee them place the placement of the rocks in the created stream channel. They're going to add a couple more of the larger rocks, about a foot, 14 inches, 12-inch diameter. So they said they would do that.
So it would look like the whole rest of the stream.
Yes,
The whole
yes.
rest of the stream bottom isn't rock all the way throughout.
Oh, no. It's going to have little pockets of sediment and sand, just like the other areas.
Okay.
So that needs to be addressed. And we talked about that a couple of times, and we talked about that again today. What else? Stream. Okay. The Phragmites, we are aware of those three you saw. We're going to do a cut and treat. There's also a small autumn olive. There is a large barberry that's back in the natural heritage area, and another autumn olive in the natural heritage area. And there are numerous glossy buckthorns that haven't been taken out. So we're going to get those as well. That's scheduled for late August, early September, when we can cut it, and that way just dab it and have the plant's sugars will be going to its roots, the sap. So we want to get it that way, so we don't have to do it multiple times. I don't like using herbicide, as I'm sure you know. The work signs have been removed. In the natural heritage area, if it's okay, I think I'd like to keep the sediment controls up. He's going to try to get the last couple lots built, and then we're probably going to pull them down after that. I just want to make sure there aren't any large construction equipment rolling around if a turtle does come through there. That's kind of was my concern.
But all the sediment control that's near the stream and the
no, I mentioned he could take the.
yeah.
No, I mentioned he could take the one out by the stream. I
Yeah,
saw
okay,
that.
good. Okay.
Yeah. What was the other thing? Not set in concrete. Okay, so I don't see that I missed any here. I think we covered everything, all the conditions.
Skipped over one of them.
I did? Which one?
What did we miss?
What did I miss?
What about TEC letter says all conditions 21 through 71 were
Yes.
completed, but you didn't address 49, 50, 51, 52, 59, 60, 63.
The
So
stormwater ones, yes.
they're about stormwater and how, once the basin had been constructed, we were supposed to get photographs showing the aeration of the bottom. So keep an eye on those conditions, please.
The basin, they are going to aerate it when they take the sediment out.
Okay, but remember that the condition says you need to take photos of that and submit them.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just to show that it's done.
Yes. I'll make a note of that right now.
Okay.
So that's I think that's about everything.
All in all, it's in really good shape. So
Yeah.
they've done a very nice job throughout. Reporting could come in a bit faster.
Yes, I agree. I didn't get contacted till about the end of November, and it was close. I apologize. I would have gotten out there earlier, but I had a ton of work already backed up. I said I can't make it till early December, so I got out there as soon as I could. So, but that
We
was,
never don't have some complication at the end of one of these, and this is going very smoothly by our estimates.
yes.
Yep, they've done a very nice job.
So that's it. Are there any other questions or any other concerns regarding this, the subdivision request for partial certificate of compliance?
None from me. Other members of the commission?
One for me.
Nope. Okay.
Jen, anything you want to add?
Nope.
I think we should have a discussion about a potential surety bond with the COC, because we always have the discussion. I think given what we heard about the planning board bond, I'm okay with this, especially considering the additional stuff that we have to do. And that we'll be seeing the applicant again, hopefully, the spring?
I wouldn't be surprised. They're moving on one of the lots right now. There are what? Lot 1, 2, I think it's 4, and or is it 5? 5 and 6, right? And they're 6 has the foundation in, and I want to wait till everything's stabilized over there and scoop out that basin. So they're really working on that one, and then they're going to go back to 3 and 4 and get those moving. So that they're trying to really move this along. And also, nobody knows how the economy is going to be, so that is a concern of theirs. So they want to get it done right, and get it done quick.
We're in. We're on board.
Good.
Jen, I'm good to make a motion?
Yep.
Motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance for 58 Mill Street.
Crossman second.
Carol motion, Crossman second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Spady aye.
Vecchio aye.
23 Owl Ridge.
Thank you. Yes, so 23 Owl Ridge. Sorry, I'm pulling this up right now. Where did it go? Okay, 23 Owl Ridge. There's only a couple of comments on here, I believe. Hold on a sec. I will go down. Letter states that impervious area was changed. That's what I was talking about before. So that is, and I stated that, and it should be okay because it's what was in the notice of intent for the lot. Same scale on the as-built. I believe Frank addressed that. All conditions have been addressed. Submit the signed acknowledgement form. I believe Greg.
So there's an actual form at the end of the order of conditions that somebody could just sign. So
is that's not is that for the buyer, or is that different?
It's for whoever is in control of it when you look for a certificate of compliance.
Okay. So it would be for now. It would be Greg. Okay. So he can take care of that. So that's the only thing on this one, and he can do that. Make sure he.
Right. DPW and the treasurer both signed off. So.
Okay. So that's it for this one.
So you could do a full, just pending the acknowledgement sign that's included in the order of conditions.
Okay, we were good on the markers on this one?
So they need to be in concrete, but they're in the right place.
Okay. Gary, you good with getting that signature for us?
Yes. Yep.
Motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for 23 Owl Ridge Road.
Second.
Carol motion. Who said second?
Vecchio second.
Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Spady aye.
Vecchio aye.
On to 29 Owl Ridge.
So again, there's no difference. It's the exact same comments, and those are the things we addressed the first two. Again, it would be the acknowledgement form. So I'll have the client applicant sign this. So I'll have them sign that one as well. Okay.
Thank you.
The treasurer has disapproved the permit. So
okay.
That would need to be addressed before we could.
Okay. So I'm sure we'll have Greg take care of that.
Please.
Sorry to ask, Garrett, is that going to hold up a closing?
It might. I definitely have the client. I'll tell him and let him know. I don't think he's aware of this one.
Yeah, no, it happens. I just think in that status we can't issue.
Understood.
But I also don't want to keep you waiting until July 7th, 21st. Did you say something, Jen?
The 21st, yeah.
Yeah. There's just no middle ground to it. We're kind of stuck on this one, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, Garrett.
No, completely understand. This is something I did not know.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's not you. All right, so I guess we take no action on 29.
Correct.
And we move on to enforcement.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Garrett.
Yes, just so you know, Jen, for enforcement, I can come back on the last one you have on your list, 5 pheasant.
I can.
Sure.
You want to just take it out of order?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we'll take 5 pheasant out of order. It's enforcement for tree removal and fill imported to a site.
Good evening. I'm Garrett Tunison from Tunison Environmental Consultants. I did meet with the property owner today, and I did take a look at the stumps that, for the cut trees, the disturbance. I saw there was a wetland boundary. It seemed a bit high. I cannot see how the groundwater would come up as high as where some of the flags are. They look like they're about 2.5 feet above. It's, from the current elevation, and of course it could come up maybe a foot. So I did hang some flags there. I checked soil. I found hydric soils. So I did hang some flags. And then once I did A1 through A5. They're my blue standard TEC A1 through A5 flags. So then I had a tape measure with me, 200 foot, and I went and I pulled tape from those flags, and I hung 25, 50, and on the back side of the fence where the most cutting happened along the backside, I put the 100 foot. So they're estimates, but they're pretty darn close. I'd say they're within an inch or two. So I looked at the trees. I will, I don't have a contract right now, but I should have that tomorrow. The client is also getting me the base plan. It's the most recent one from when he bought the house. So I will get that and I will use that as the planting plan. As long as he's good with the contract, I'll move forward. And I did inventory all the native vegetation, and I inventoried all the trees and estimated their DBH and which species they were. They're mostly pines. But there looked like 1 or 2 red oaks in there. So that's what I found. So one thing I did want to say too, and I do not know how, it's completely up to you. I will take your advice on this. There are a lot of black cherries, Prunus serotina, coming up. Do you want, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be planting trees. Do not think that. We're going to be planting seedlings, and we're going to be planting white pine and some oaks. There's also some red maples coming up in there. I didn't know if you'd like me to also add a few of those. But should we go a little heavier on the shrubs, considering there are literally probably, I would say, 50 or 60 black cherry seedlings already coming up? Would you like me to go heavier with the shrubs? Because there really isn't much of a shrub layer in there. Your thoughts?
No one's seen the site except for me and Mike. So maybe if you want to send a plan over,
yes,
email a plan over, then we can chat about that.
Certainly. So that's the only thing.
Not going to know what you're talking about just yet.
Okay, Garrett, from my half-informed perspective on it, yeah, I think we're open to shrubs.
Okay. And there are invasives there too. I saw there were Eastern burning bush, climbing nightshade, or purple nightshade. There was also a bunch of oriental bittersweets and glossy buckthorns. So those should come out first before we put any plants in. That would be my suggestion. So
yes, please.
And then we do that this fall, and then do a spring planting if that's okay with the commission. I would like to do that because I like to get those out so we don't screw up the restoration area with the invasives. Okay,
please.
So I think that's pretty much it.
Yes. So we don't have an enforcement order on this, right, Jen? That where that stood is you
Right, it's
issued a
not
stop work.
yeah, it's not an order, it was a letter, and, you know, since they're cooperating, we would just get the restoration plan.
Yeah.
And then approve it at a meeting, and then as long as the plan is being followed, it can remain as informal enforcement.
Good with that.
He mentioned something for, I think it was July 1st or July 2nd that
July 21st is the next meeting.
yes. Can I get the plan to you in the next week and a half, Jen? Would that work? And members of the commission?
It could be the 14th.
Okay, I definitely get it by then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What about the fill?
The fill, I was going to, I saw that the sandy loam material he took out, I would like to put back. And then he will need to put at least 4 to 6 inches, because that's the normal profile there of an A horizon on top. I would say find sandy loam 10YR2122, because that's where it is. I did look at it. It was actually a gravelly, but I don't think the gravel's going to matter too much.
Okay, just have everything in the plan, and we'll take it.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
And I estimated where the couple stumps were that he pulled, so I will put those once I get the. He gave me a small plan, but it was too small really to draw on, so I took photos up from every angle, and I will use that. And I recorded video for audio. I recorded all the DBHs. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too.
You.
Thanks, and happy 4th, everybody.
You too.
So back to 101 Lincoln Street.
The last meeting, you requested someone from the town attend the meeting to just discuss the clearing that had happened around the pond, and when we would see an enforcement, an application, a wetland permit application.
And no one's here.
I was informed that no one would attend the meeting, and that the wetland permit application would be in as soon as available.
Okay. We have not issued an enforcement order, correct?
Correct. It's enforcement letter.
All right. So as a commission, we have 2 options. We can continue to wait, or we can issue an enforcement order.
Probably wait. They said they were gonna turn it in, right?
Yeah,
slow, but
I know the only concern is we've had this. Is this the 3rd meeting where this has been on?
Yeah.
I would suggest you wait.
Okay. All right. So we'll take no action on 101 Lincoln Street, and hopefully we have someone here on the 21st. Moving on to board discussion. Review meeting minutes, 6/9/25. Anybody want to make a motion?
I didn't look this week. Sorry, guys.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from, what was it, 5/25?
Crossman second.
6/9/25.
6/9/25. My apologies.
We'll amend the motion.
Crossman
Vecchio
second.
motion. Crossman second. Roll call vote. Carol, I.
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
CPC priorities. Phil, what do you got for us?
So, Jen, thanks for putting this on. I apologize. We never had a chance to connect last week. But basically, CPC, we all met on June 12th, and we were kind of given homework to think about certain priorities that our own individual commissions, boards wanted to do for fiscal year 2025. So I kind of wanted to reach out to everyone to kind of see what we were kind of thinking. I know that we have, the Wheaton Farm Barn and Tough Farms buildings are things that, could have a positive impact on the community. That's kind of sort of the things that they were looking for. But wanted just kind of to like align our mindset so I can spit this back at PCP when we meet next time. They also wanted to know what we as a group believe will bring the biggest value to the town of Easton in our eyes.
those are big questions.
That's a big
Big,
ideas.
big questions.
My priorities are the 2 things that we've been kind of splintering with since I've been on the commission, which is getting something done at Wheaton.
Yes.
and then getting Tufts back up running in a way that makes some sense. Um, I think also though, if you asked me where we should be spending money as a town, it would probably be closer to invasive species management, in addition to these other things. But I think my priority list is the same priority list we've had, and I feel like every day we're not fixing Tufts and Wheaton, it's getting more expensive to fix Tufts and Wheaton.
Yeah, the longer you let it sit and rot, the more you'll have to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Just
Right.
gonna
I mean, it's, you know, the types of projects where there's a, you know, like the Tufts Farm is a good example, you know, or Wheaton Farm, something that's gonna, you know, have a dual goal, right, of, you know, filling our mandate plus giving back, you know, providing a space for the community to use. Right.
Right.
You know, the invasive species stuff is important, right? You know, for sure. And that's a whole different deal, but still important.
Yeah.
I think we, as far as public benefit from either Wheaton or Tufts, I think Tufts would probably have a more significant impact on the community at large than restoration to Wheaton. So if I had to pick between one of the two, as much as it pains me a little bit because is something I very much care about, getting Tufts up and running and being the centerpiece with a really willing farm that's in there could have it could be really fun and provide a lot of recreational opportunities and learning experiences for the town.
Could not agree more. The long-term goal of Tufts, I think, outweighs a little bit of what Wheaton has at this moment. I think our future with Tufts could be really beautiful, and it hasn't been highlighted yet. I think it has its time to shine.
Could we do a quick rundown of what sort of things we would like to be doing to Tufts? Just to have it on the record and fresh memory and all that great stuff.
What was our last proposal at CPC?
So there is a grant before CPC that was to have been voted on for the spring town meeting. And that was to restore the farmhouse, the barn, and the workshop so that the farm could be more self-sustaining. Right, so once they are, you know, repaired and renovated, we would be getting lease funding in every month so that it goes toward the repairs. The farmer also manages the property, so that helps out with staffing and resource issues as well, and promotes local agriculture, local businesses. Our tenant farmer is from the area, so it's good to continue to support local business. And then
is that enough, Bill?
We have a big fat open space plan with lots and lots of objectives.
Yeah.
It also has the evaluation of, you know, how you would evaluate land to determine whether or not it is something, you know, that the town should pursue if it comes up. So there is an evaluation, you know, criteria to evaluate property.
Okay. Perfect. No, that's really great information. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for doing it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Anything else we want to do on CPC priorities? You good?
Talked about that. I'm fairly confident. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean to put you in the hot seat.
No, I appreciate it.
I just didn't want to leave you if you had another thing you wanted to say.
Well, just like as a quick note for like the PACE committee and everything that happened with the special town vote, CPC kind of is purposely leaving everything open-ended for right now. Again, this homework was to kind of help prioritize what we want to do. And obviously everyone wants to do all of their own projects and help make Easton be as best as they can, but with the fiscal year situation that we have, we can really only do so much. So I feel like this is a great discussion to really prioritize what Concom wants to do and we'll put it in front of CPC and see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So board reappointments. The most hotly debated topic of the night. Anybody want to talk about board positions?
You must vote tonight. I'm just telling
Yeah.
Jen's not letting us leave.
I meant to call you all offline.
individually.
Yeah, but I did not. Mike, you still want to do vice chair?
I would love to be vice chair.
So absent board discussion, I'm going to make a motion. Motion to appoint Mike Spadia vice chair of the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Carol motion. Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Carol aye.
Rossman, aye.
Vecchio aye.
My vote? No.
Can, why not?
Spady aye.
President votes for himself. You
That's a
vote.
good point.
That's a great
President's supposed to vote for someone other than themselves.
So, I would like to make a motion to elect Ben as chair again of this commission.
Vecchio second.
All right, Vecchio second. Roll call vote. Or Ben, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to do that. Spadia motion. Vecchio second. Roll call vote.
Grossman, aye.
Spady aye.
Vecchio aye.
Thank you all for the continued vote of confidence. Representative to Community Preservation Committee. Phil, you still want to do it?
Oh yeah.
I think you've been really good in it so far, so thank you.
2 meetings in. I appreciate that.
Grossman, second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carol aye.
Grossman, aye.
Spady aye.
Vecchio.
Representative
No, you can't vote.
All right.
Representative to Committee for Climate Action Planning.
Oh yeah. A meeting August. I don't remember the date. It's coming. Number one.
So Mike, you're still in?
Still in. Excited.
Motion to appoint Mike Spadia as our representative for the Committee for Climate Action Planning.
Grossman, second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carol aye.
Grossman, aye.
Vecchio aye.
All right, let's have our discussion about associate members. Who's here?
Chris and John.
Would you mind just promoting them?
Yep, they're coming up now.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. Can you
Hey,
hear me
Chris.
okay?
We can hear you. So, Chris, you want to do this for another year?
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly show you some of the things I have been doing since really haven't been able to move any of the larger projects that I've discussed in the past due to permitting and whatnot. But I do take care of the trails throughout town.
Yeah.
And so maybe if you would allow me to share my screen, I could show you the trail tracking tool that I use.
Of course.
Just a quick sample of some of the stuff that's been getting repaired over the last 4 years. And then it won't even take me a minute just to show you that interface. And then, yeah, that would be all I really want to show you tonight. And then I just want to express interest in doing some things that I know have been on a list somewhere of priorities that require, more than just picking up sticks and tree branches and whatnot, because it's been a number of years that I've been able to do any projects like that, and I'm doing projects like that in other towns, and I've gotten NOIs and RDAs and submitted. I even won a grant with Ali and Chandi with the state 2 weeks ago, and she's funding a project that I'm doing in another town. So I feel like I think there's opportunity here, but I just don't feel like I'm getting utilized for it. And I think I'd like to just express that I'd like to do more.
We appreciate that. Let's do it.
All right, let me try sharing my screen real quick. This is a different interface than I'm used to. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
All right, so this is an app that I use. It's called TreoCare. And if I went to the app at a high level, it has all the trails in town. So I'll just let this settle on and you can sort of see the map slowly populating with things. So I'll just let that kind of fill up so you can kind of see. I'm not showing every town area, but and what happens is when users are using the trails, they report with the app very quickly when there's a tree down, garbage detected, broken structure, water problem, heavily overgrown. There are other things they can report, but these are the current things that are flagged in this map. And when those get reported, there are only right now a few people that get those reports that can actually do something with them. I'm one of them. And so when the reports come in, I can then do something about them. And here's where you can sort of see where I've done the trail repairs over the last few years. So you can see that somebody reported a broken structure here. I'll bring it up so you can see it. Let me get broken structure over in Clifford Grant. So there's a board that's broken here and a board that's broken here. That was first reported on May 7th, and then again reported by me on June 27th. I haven't been out in the woods in the last month because I've been so busy at work, but I'm actually going to go in and fix that this weekend. But you can see some of the other ones that are in the area that I also cover borderlands, so you'll see some Sharon in here, but you can see that I've been active by looking at the dates on the left here when they're reported and then looking for the status of fixed on the right. And if I were to scroll through this, you'd see that I've been actively fixing. This one's in Borderland. Mostly it's tree down. So you can sort of see like this one was over the winter up in the dam, the old top of the old dam in Flyaway. I cut that out. You can see another one here. This was reported by the little Easton Bobcats mountain bike team. And I cut this out. So you can see that the app does a pretty good job in most of what I've been doing over the last few years. It goes back, I can go back 24, 23, back to when I first started using this in 2022, actually 2021. So you can see and this is all my stuff that I've fixed over the last number of years. So I'm averaging about 5 to 6 repairs on the trails a month over the span since 2021. And most of them will tend to be trees down. I mean, you can walk our trails, and for the most part, they're pretty clear all the time because we stay on top of it. Anyways, I just wanted to show you that. If you have any questions, I can take them now.
Yes, so I really just thank you for doing it. I think more or less we wanted to gauge your continued interest in remaining an associate member. And I know you've had some trail projects that we've all been interested in pursuing. And let's continue a conversation about how we can advance that through a permitting phase and get some stuff done. That all said, let's get a schedule, and maybe we should be doing this in our agenda and notifying backwards, where at least quarterly we have you and Jonathan, assuming he wants to continue as well, in just for exactly the update you just did, and to at least force us front of mind to be talking about projects for continued improvement and building of trails.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I don't think tonight's the night to go through our next set of projects, but why don't we get something on the agenda like this summer to put stuff back on front of mind, because everyone will be interested in doing something on these trails in the fall. Maybe a little bit of public buy-in. We can get a notice of intent or an RDA for some additional trails that it sounds like you're really interested in creating.
I would be, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And Jonathan, I can see you're on with us, but I can't see you or hear you. I just want to confirm that you're in. And
wait a minute. I should take that off, right? Whoops. How about now?
There you are. How you doing?
I'm pretty well. Yourself? I don't think we've met before.
We've met on Zoom, but that's about the extent of it.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that I have a new knee since October, so back in shape for actually getting out there and doing something.
That's
So
that's good. That's really good.
it's really good. And also, I'd like to say, Chris, just give me a holler. I'm here. We've worked in the
Will do.
past. We can do it again.
Love it. Good to
Right,
see
I
you,
did
John.
notice,
John, good to see you.
in
Good to
our
see you.
in our binder we had the description of the associate commissioners. I think the description is still appropriate. I think it might have been an earlier draft that got attached to it, Jen. I just want to make sure we're in agreement that we appoint, not the select board.
Okay, that's fine.
That's more like a internal question to make sure we don't have to put you before the select board for approval. But I think we've always done it as the Conservation Commission appoints associate members. More or less something to note. So I'll make a motion to approve Christopher Patrick and Jonathan Chase as associate members of the Conservation Commission for another year.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Rossman, aye.
Beatty, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Thank you, Chris and John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So up next is chair updates. Master plan meeting occurred 6/24/25. I've not had a chance to go back and review the master plan meeting. And
we'll have suggestions, contact Stephanie.
Yeah. Same thing, the municipal building reuse meetings were 6/26 and 6/30, and there's an online survey, which is part of the agenda. So you can go click, make your opinion heard. Environmental planner updates. You got any for us, Jen?
Just that the MACC bill is in for FY26 and that it's $760 for the commission to continue being a member. And just make a plug, if you're a member, please go to the consider going to either the fall or the spring conference or any of the classes in between. We will pay for that for you to go to those.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then any pertinent item not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Anyone have anything they want to add? All right, I'll make one final motion to adjourn.
Vecchio second.
You can have it.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Rossman, aye.
Beatty, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Hey, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Good 4th. Be safe.